Hey there, Meg Brunson here, and today we're going to talk about building cold prospecting audiences on Facebook for your Facebook ads. Now, I have talked all about this in episode number 96 of the FamilyPreneur podcast, so if you want to go listen to some of the strategy or the audio, that goes along with this video lesson, then that is where you should go, to the FamilyPreneur podcast at megbrunson.com/96. Otherwise, I'm going to hop right into how we get these audiences built. So when you get into Ads Manager or anywhere in Business Manager, you're going to click on these three little lines in the upper left-hand corner. Click on that area. If the full menu doesn't expand, hover over All Tools and then go to Audiences. All right? It's going to populate your audience dashboard right here. We're going to click on Create Audiences, and we're going to make a saved audience to demonstrate for this example. Now, you can also get the same audiences tool from your Ads Manager if you're going through the creation process. So that's another totally acceptable way to do it, but this is the way I'm going to show you today. Now, I like naming my audiences after I build them because sometimes I get a little creative, and this way I can name it appropriately. We're going to skip over custom audiences right now because I really want to focus on the detailed targeting options and the best strategy to get the right audience down here. I will touch on this a little bit up here really quickly. Locations, this is where you can change the way that Facebook targets everybody in this location versus people who just live there, people who are traveling through, or people who were recently there. And if you're ever unsure what one of those things mean, you can just hover over that eye to get some additional information. So people recently in this location just means those people were most recently in that selected area when they checked in with Facebook or something like that. Now, the age range, you can set that appropriately. Gender, if your product is gender specific, and you only need to target languages if you are targeting a minority language. So in the United States, you never have to target English, but if you're going to target Mexico, for example, and you only want to get English-speaking people, then you're going to want to include English in the languages box there. Now, when it comes to detailed targeting, the mistake I see most often is that people put everything in one box. So if I want to reach parent entrepreneurs, this may be an example of segments that I would target. And then they would add some additional parent entrepreneurial topics, and you would think you were done. But this is a big mistake. You do not want to do that. And the reason is that anything that shares a box, these are or statements. It says include people who match at least one of the following. That means people in this audience are parents or they're entrepreneurs. So some of the entrepreneurial people in this audience aren't going to be parents, and that's not going to be who I want to reach. So we need to do things differently. What we're going to do, first of all, is click on the Browse button and check out all of these different options. These are all expandable. So take some time and just go through and see all of the things that you can target in here and start to think about what segments are going to be most appropriate for you in your business. Okay, you can do that in your spare time. Pause this video, go do that, and then come back. I'll wait. All right, so I hope you went and did that. Now, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take all of those ideas that you have, and I want you to come up with a couple big categories, right, that all of your audience will fall into. So I'm going to use myself and my podcast as an example. My podcast is called FamilyPreneur. It's for parent entrepreneurs raising entrepreneurial kids. So my ideal audience, they are parents, they are entrepreneurs, and they listen to podcasts because I don't want to have to explain to people what a podcast is. I want them to know that they want to listen to me. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go into Browse because I know I saw a targeting segment for parents, and here it is. Now I can also see that maybe I don't want all parents. I kind of just want the parents of the kids that are kind of younger ages. So I'm going to include everybody. I'm going to include teens too, but I'm not going to include those adult kids. So there is a segment up here, which is 18 to 26-year-olds. I'm not going to include those parents, but I'm going to include all the other parents. Now, I'm going to click this narrow audience button. That's going to populate a second box, and it identifies that it must also match somebody in this box. So this is where I'm going to put those entrepreneurial targeting options. So from here, I'm going to go to Browse. I'm going to go to Behaviors, digital activities, and I'm going to grab those small business owners along with entrepreneurs. And then I might think, who else do I want to target? I can click on suggestions. It's going to take these things that I've put in these boxes and give me some other options. So business owners, CEOs, I can go through founders, interested in entrepreneurship. I can add a bunch of things to this box until I feel like it sufficiently is going to capture all of those entrepreneurs. Now, my third category was podcasts, so I will narrow further and add podcasts in there. I just want to include a general interest in podcasts because it doesn't have to be anything specific, and now I'm done. This is how I recommend you build your audiences. You set up multiple boxes, and each box is separated based on one overarching umbrella category. And then within that box are lots of little targeting segments that will help identify the right person. Now what you've done is you've effectively set up 3 filters: a filter for parents, a filter for entrepreneurs, and a filter for podcast listeners. Depending upon your business, you may have a lot of filters or only a couple filters, but this is the best way to set it up, and you can confirm that it all makes sense when you look at the audience details over here in the sidebar. So this just recaps that the audience we built today is targeting the United States, people between the ages of 18 and as old as they come. They are parents and must also match these entrepreneurial targeting options, and they must also have an interest in podcasts. This is exactly the audience that I want to reach. It is 1.5 million people, which is a really great number for prospecting audiences. We'll talk more about that later. And that is it. Now we are done. Now I don't need to exclude anybody, but if I did want to exclude people who like my page or only target people who like my page or friends of people who like my page, any of those things, I could do that in here, but I don't want to do that. So I am going to come up here now and I name my audience. And now that it has a name and all of those things are set up, I hit create audience and boom, it's going to show up in my audiences dashboard right here, and I'm going to be able to use that in my ads. Just a quick crash course on how to create a Facebook cold prospecting audience for your Facebook ads. For more notes, more information, more strategy, head over to megbrenson.com/96 today. We'll talk soon. Bye.